Kench was gone, Power Vivo overstayed, bam. One team fight for Fnatic, the game is donezo. And Misfits Gaming have to go into game 2 now, probably with the wise words from their coach saying, fight. And I could add another part to that, to do the old, the Season 5 one.
Yeah, I think it's not clear for air, but, the fans can shout whatever they want. That's a whole nother story. But all right, we see the Zac ban once again, this time by Misfits. Cho'Gath follows through. Fnatic, they stick with the Kalista, and they also get rid of MaxLore's Maokai.
I like that ban. Fnatic setting up a potential first pick, Elise. Caitlyn is banned away by Misfits, and while Broxy did not find great success in the early game, you should not, lose faith in Elise for that one reason. So
that was a bit unlucky, right?
I mean, unlucky. Great prediction from MaxLore. Say it however you want.
One of the two, for sure.
I think MaxLore just kind of played well early game there to counter it.
Let's see what MaxLore ends up bringing out this time around, as he won't have the Maokai to show for it. 10 seconds still going. I wonder if they do pick up the jungle this early on. Still going to have another rotation for it, of course.
I also wonder if they feel forced to take Jarvan, and they actually do. Because if they don't take it here, Fnatic could grab it and over on their side right here and actually steal the wave from Alphari, and we know it's such a key pick for him right now.
For both top laners, actually.
Very true. Good for both top lanes. So he'll lock it in. If Gnar doesn't come in for Fnatic in their next rotation, we might just see it banned away by Misfits Gaming. They're also looking at the #1 pick for Power Vivo. Fnatic banned one. He grabs the other one.
Yeah. Very big signature choice for him, as always, and now it's back over to Fnatic. Last time around in this pick and ban phase, they decided to pick themselves up a carry. Let's see what they end up doing this time.
I want to see if Caps has prepared anything against this Syndra. I missed the old Fizz Echo picks against it. Jessis did tweet that he hoped Misfits Gaming would leave Thresh up for him, spamming it, ready to perform on it, and Fnatic are getting some key comfort picks for them. Will Cap show his mid laner? We've seen Corki quite a few times from him as well against Syndra. Or will he just save it and actually risk some bans from Misfits?
Oh, we're about to find out. Only a few more seconds ticking away. Looks like Fnatic are opting into that utility AD style. Varus locked in for Reckless.
All right, no Ashe this time around for him. This is also a great takeaway from Hans Sama, because Kalista is already banned. Varus is picked. Hans Sama.
He's played as much of it as he has every other champion for the most part.
That's true, and the Caitlyn he played last game is already gone. Just pull out the Draven, Hans Sama, just do it.
Oh, I would love to see that.
I know he wants to. Come on. Lock it in. 2 seconds.
Well, I don't think they ban it away, but they... Oh. All right.
Fine.
The Ashe.
Fine. Boring. We get another utility champion. It's okay. Can't really blame him. I say that as the biggest Ashe fan in the world, so I just really want to see Draven, because it's Draven, but we get the Ashe. Now, I want to see if Misfits want to ban away the Gnar. That was a really annoying champion for him to deal with last game. I think that would be a smart ban right now, so you have that Jarvan top lane. Jax is another one you could consider removing if you don't want to deal with late game threats like that.
On the side lane, yeah.
There's also the mid lane, you got to look at it. That's what they're doing with LeBlanc.
Okay, so they removed LeBlanc from the pool here, and it's over to Fnatic right now. What are they going to be focusing on? Because they removed a key pick from MaxLore's pool. Do they want to hit it harder?
Let's see. Worst case, MaxLore plays Jarvan himself. It is a flex pick, so if they start banning out a lot of junglers. Fnatic, though, I mean, this LeBlanc ban, it does make sense because you have Elise on the side of Fnatic. You don't want to have that 2v2 kind of skirmish in the mid lane against LeBlanc Elise we've seen so often, but I think Caps has so many picks ready he can play still. Like, Talia is also fine for him to take here against the Syndra. I don't think he's too concerned about losing LeBlanc and Vladimir.
No, but Misfits definitely wanted to focus on getting that away from him, and Fnatic on their side, they banned the Tahm Kench away from Gnar, and they're now going to get rid of the Gragas. So it is a jungle pick that they opt into the last. Now what Misfits, what are they going to round this out with? They need a jungle, they need a support.
Sejuani is still available. Would be a good pick for them to add even more engaged tankiness to their composition. I'm just going to say Kayn is also a thing, but
an option.
You should maybe play him against some of the tank comps and not against like very early game focus comp right now. Misfits are saving that jungle pick to keep the Jarvan flex alive for now. Let's see what Caps wants to play mid. Again, Corki and Talia would make a lot of sense from his side.
It's been something he's been playing quite a bit of, especially that Corki.
Oh! So that's Kayn top or mid lane.
All right, Fnatic, they're the ones that take that away to start things off.
That's going to be Caps. He's the kind of guy to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah? Yeah, why not? Oh, wow, this is going to be a fun one.
He's going to take Gnar. Yeah, just take the Gnar. If
give it over to Celeste. It's fine.
Kayn mid lane.
Just when you think you're not going to get surprised, Fnatic are like, hold on. We got something for you. I love it. Kayn locked in. And it goes to Caps.
I want to see what he can do early game. The full lethality Kayn mid lane is something I have seen a bit of in solo queue, like Duskblade, Ghostblade, Ghostblade as a early item combination, and your damage is insane, but man, you are so squishy.
All right, so Misfits end up locking last. It is that Sejuani as recommended. But yeah, this is going to be all about the mid lane. Deficio, Power of Evil maybe on a signature comfort pick for himself. But Caps, the hotshot mid laner for Fnatic, picks up Kayn. We've only seen limited amounts of this in the European LCS. Limited amounts of this worldwide. But the mid lane, that's a whole new one.
I mean, Kayn, most likely lethality Kayn mid lane. If he wants to go for the snowball, a black cleaver, Kayn, if he wants to deal with the tanks.
Game. You might as well throw it out there and say, we do not want this to be a 35-minute game that doesn't have a whole lot of kills. Let's break this one open early. I would love to see that with full lethality.
Let's see. Sadly, I have to admit that Vedius had already told me that he expected Kayn mid lane when he saw the release.
It wasn't in picks to watch, though. Not mid laner.
Exactly.
He talked about top and jungle.
No proof.
There we go. All right, well, we want to know what you guys have to say about this one. And actually, that is
see, that is
totally
wrong.
correct on the graphic.
So
that is weird.
Graphics, yeah, graphics guys here.
I think everyone was unprepared for this.
They got fooled. It is Elise jungle, Kayn mid lane for Caps. There's no Cassiopeia in this game.
That was last game. All right. I tell you guys to go out and vote. You know exactly where to do it at LOL Esports and all that good stuff. Kayn in the mid lane for Caps, who's having a giggle to start things off, and Fnatic 1-0 on this series. Looking to close it out with some style points. And Misfits, they're going to be fighting to stay alive and bring it all the way back to Game 3. We will find out how it all shakes out as we get ready to lock and load onto Summoner's Rift, Part 2.
Let's follow his build in this game here. Will it be the black cleaver to kill some tanks? Will it be the lethality build to kill some squishies on this Kayn mid lane here? It's so exciting. I hope he runs just the pure lethality runes on it as well, just from maximum damage right now.
That is a really cute duck, though. Let's talk about that duck, Deficio.
Oh, when Urgot is here next patch, he has one of those ducks for some reason stuck in his body. It's really weird.
He has a duck stuck?
Yeah.
That's not okay. We got to save that duck.
Well, he actually pulls it out sometimes. And
is it okay?
Well, he throws the duck away, and then don't worry, it's not a real one.
It's like a fake duck.
Yeah, it's a fake one.
Okay, good. Decoy. Gotcha. I was worried. We don't endorse animal cruelty.
No, that would be wrong. That would just be straight up wrong.
Yep. All right. So into this one. Break this down for me a little bit, Deficio. Like, let's just assume the full lethality build. What is Caps going to be doing from a build standpoint?
So if he's going for full lethality, there is either the choice of rushing Ghostblade instantly, so you actually can benefit from the movement speed, or just rushing Duskblade for maximum damage. Obviously great as well when he is, in fact, roaming right there, and he just appears out of nowhere from the side.
All right.
There's Cowbell. We got to highlight that as well, but think of the Kayn mid lane a little bit like a Talon, in the way that your roaming is extremely effective. If you can actually get to leave the lane and use his E here to suddenly appear behind the enemy bot lane or enemy top laner, and you just show up with the Duskblade and you just deal insane damage straight away.
Okay, well, as things kick off here, Power of Evil giving a healthy distance to that Kayn. Start things off. All the other lanes still holding out. And remember, Broxa on this early game, Elise, could definitely still have a big early impact. We talked last game about how he might make visits to mid, but instead it was the top lane. And Alfari was feeling that pressure until they turned it around with the Max Lore counter gank. Checking in up there, Alfari doesn't seem to be having too much trouble to start things off up against the Boomerang. We'll see how it shakes out. Of course, Soaz didn't have too hard of a time at all last game either.
No, and he gets Gnar again, and that kind of surprised me. We said this when we saw the bans come in from Misfits, being like, you're ruining a lot of mid laners right now, but there's still a lot of good mid laners left for Caps to play. We did not expect the Kayn mid lane to come in, but he was not faced by that at all. And Source gets his Gnar, which could have been banned away. So once again, you might have Alfari being in this annoying matchup in the late game.
It goes to show that trying to ban out Caps was definitely not an optimal decision.
I want to follow also if Caps is maxing W, which is what I've seen quite a few times from it. Obviously, mid lane, if you want to just play Q-Max and try and all in that lane, it's so hard, especially in pro play, where you might just get ganked multiple times, and you need so much vision control and pressure to do that. So maxing W is just a little bit stronger for him and safer here in the early laning phase.
Yeah, and the Blades reach. Denying a little bit of gank pressure as well. Now, Jesus is making an early trip up here, and he's going around the side. Power of Evil could be caught. His guard down for the time being, but he does have his flash, he does have his exhaust, and he's giving a very respectful distance to Caps here. So Jesus is going to head back down.
I also tell people that on Caps' main account, he is 1-4 on Kayn mid lane. So not been the most successful run in his solo queue lately, but obviously scrims maybe.
I got that one win.
He's been shining.
That's all that matters. You get some confidence however you want, Officio.
Obviously in the early laning phase when you play against Syndra as a melee champion, it's not that funny. You just have to kind of try and sit and maximize farm. Doran's shield kind of helps him sustain early on. No teleport because he's picking cleanse, and of course you get a little bit of extra HP this way, but look for his roams later on. Push the lane out with his W, see if he can leave, appear bottom lane with some lethality under his belt, and Hansama dies instantly. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Black Cleaver build in this one, because he's against like 2 tanks on the top side that he has to kill.
So he burned his Shadow Step to try and get a jump on down through that pit, but instead he does dodge out just on his own merit from the Scout of the Week. Maxlore inside of the Fnatic jungle. Throws out the Scryer's Bloom. They are not going to spot him there, but they were pinging that he had to be in the area while Broxa was up top. So nobody's really found each other just yet. Broxa is making moves. I wonder if Alfari will be able to get out of this one quick enough. He's still pretty back close to his tower. Goes around the side. He's got red buff on, but he's not going to go for the gank. Instead, he just wanders into the jungle, but it's devoid of any creeps. So he's not going to be able to find anything but vision for now.
So let's see if he can actually get enough hits down on a ranged champion, depending on which form he wants to go for. I almost only see you going for the tanky form, the Rast form, but
there we go.
Depending on the build as well.
We'll talk about that one in a little bit later, because Alfari, he flashed out. It was followed through by Broxa and Soaz, and they are wailing on him as he tries to get back to the tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, Broxa likes to gank top lane in the early game. It's happened almost every Fnatic game of the split. When you then also give Soaz a champion he can become a split pusher on, if you die to that first gank, you are in trouble. Early Moby boots from Broxa just to rush around the ganks. First item from Caps, it is gonna be lethality, serrated dirt completed for him. We're gonna see Kayn try and walk around and just destroy some squishy targets. It's Power of Evil and Hansama we're looking at.
Yeah, they're gonna have to look at themselves and be really careful, but for the time being, Soaz has that first blood. He's looking pretty happy with the Phage picked up as well as his boots. Fnatic making moves on this map early on. Jesus was spotted out by the ward, placed down earlier by Maxlore. Of course, they matched that vision up in the top side. Now they can see that Maxlore is making his way up here. And Caps just hitting that level 6 mark right now. And he has been maxing that Blade's Reach, Officio.
Yes, okay, so that's as we talked about. Obviously, does extremely well with some skill points in it. Rank 5, 260 damage from that ability, and great scaling as well. 120% bonus AD, so great if you're stacking AD. Good to max early game also, just for a bit more clear on that lane. And let's see if we can actually get some poke damage down at all. I still want to see how many hits you can actually get off onto Power of Evil.
Power's going to have some damage as well, but still needs a little bit of time to watch himself. Caps goes into the river to clear away that brush ward, keeping himself nice and safe. Now, Maxlore's still on level 5, of course, so is Broxa, but one more successful gank for the Spider already.
You can see how Power of Evil not really been able to shut down Caps from farming. He has to respect, obviously, an Elise being around the map. There's no cleanse on the side of Power of Evil, so if he's playing super aggressive, trying to like punish Caps, who's sitting very far back in the lane, well, Elise shows up, and suddenly Caps can actually all in very easily with his mobility, and Power of Evil might find himself caught out, and he dies and feeds a kill over to the guy who's currently trying to stack snowball items. So
not what you want.
He has to respect that. Ignor's behind Broxa right now.
Flashes up, and he gets the knock-up onto the Spider. Maxlore coming in with the flail. In comes Power, and as Broxa comes right back down, he unleashes the power. PoE picks up his first kill of the game. Now Caps trying to shadow step out. He has to dash forward. Maxlore bumps him up. Permafrost is on. Still they go for the dive. Flashing now as he gets away from Ignar.
I love the roam here from Ignar. The play sets up to get the kill on Broxa. Then right here you see Caps as well, realizing he can't really help his teammate. Good use of cooldowns to escape. Spacing out everything very nicely and then having to flash in the end. But Ignar right there with a massive play for Misfits. Forcing summoner spells, getting a kill as well. And yes, we talked a lot about the Kayn in the mid lane, but there's still all this stuff happening on the map, like top lane, where, oh, this Gnar who got an early kill is completely dumpstering the Jarvan. What a surprise.
Yeah, Soaz is not having any trouble right now, and this is a lot of trouble for Misfits. Last game, remember, they took a while to really get rolling, and they just never did it. This time, they have some more power in the early and into the mid game. But Alphari is still a critical component of this team composition. Very comfortable champion for him, but Soaz is showing him up. Once again,
with help from Broxah in the early game. That is definitely important to highlight as well. But that is huge because Fnatic will keep winning that side lane. And they can use Kayn in the other side lane. They can play 1-3-1 split push with their comp. Reckless right now, his job, unlike past weeks, is to sit mid lane and wave clear. He doesn't have to go to side lane at all. He's playing a wave clear AD carry. So all Reckless needs to do in this game is just be safe mid. Let Kayn sit in one lane. Let Soaz on Gnar sit in the other lane and just win both side lanes for Fnatic. That means Misfits need to rely on the hard engage. They do have a lot of it. Same thing last game, but they didn't use it.
They have to do it this time, though. I mean, like, when's the point when it's really going to break open? I feel like Power of Evil, once he gets his first big item spike, they need to rally behind him. Does that sound about right?
I mean, as soon as we get out of laning phase, if Fnatic are trying to set up 1-3-1, mid lane is always easy to engage on. Like, you're sitting and looking at something like a Varus. Yes, Jessus will be there with Land to try and save him, but you have Alistar, you have Sejuani as your main engaged tools. Back that up with a Jarvan follow-up, an Ashe arrow, a long-range stun from a Cinder. Like, there are a million ways for Misfits to force a fight in mid against Reckless and Jessus. And that simply means when Soaz and Caps are sitting in the side lanes, if the mid lane gets engaged on for Fnatic, they have to abandon the side lanes and run towards the mid lane to try and join a fight or maybe defend. Otherwise, they just lose mid instantly. And that's always the key thing. Like, when you play against 1-3-1 split push, having hard engage that can force a fight in the mid lane is a good way to stop the split push.
No, we're not quite at that point in the game just yet as Caps is stepping forward,
looking
for Maxlor, jumps into him, and Soaz is here along with Broxah. They brought more friends to the party, and Gnar into the wall means Broxah is going to be able to secure the first kill of the fight. Maxlor isolated, no friends here, just the tower as Caps goes in. Some slashes, and he goes a-reaping as he picks up a kill on a Max.
As we talked about, think about Kayn mid lane as this talent pick that can move over these walls very easily, that can actually move from his lane and suddenly appear behind people. Caps right there, sneaks his way to the top lane, shows up 3v2, bam, that's a few kills for Fnatic. It's so effective to roam as a Kayn, and it's exactly what he's doing here. Great use of this champion.
Fantastic, so Broxah gets that first kill, of course, and Maxlor, well, nothing personal, kid. Here comes Caps.
He definitely wants that kill. Whoop. Max range, or max rank, a W from Caps to finish off the kill.
And hey, Reckless, he's near the mid lane. All right.
And look at that. Yeah, as soon as that move happened from Caps, Jessus and Reckless just walk mid. Like, yeah, our job is to defend mid lane. We're gonna let the other guys have fun up in the top lane. We just want to kill minions. That's all they're looking for. Caps, Moby Boots coming in as well. He gets a Dusk Blade.
Oh, and
a Ghost Blade. You know, there's so many ways for him to move around the map, avoid wards, show up so fast. Like, this pick can snowball so effectively, and he's doing it right now. He's 1-0-1 already.
He got a little inspired by what Exile was bringing out last week on the Talon, so he decides he's going to take his own kind of champion. So 3-1 is the kill count, and Fnatic, they're going to pick up a second tower of the game. Misfits haven't been able to get one, but extends that gold lead to 3,000 over Misfits.
So the laning phase is over, meaning Misfits wants to fight. They're actually TPing in now. Ignore behind Fnatic as well. This might be a good opening for Misfits.
See if they can do it. Looking for Broxah, Reckless, Jessus. Doesn't really matter. The chains were on, but Ignore flashes. He gets a knockback.
Lantern.
Here comes Hansam. The Lantern is down. Gonna take it, but they get the Cataclysm into the Ashe Arrow, and they've got two locked in the pit, and it's like shooting fish in a barrel. 2 quick kills for Misfits.
And I love that both teams have now shown us how they want to play their comp. Fnatic, it's all about roaming around, playing 1-3-1 split push and just appear, you know, skirmish with this Kayn here. Misfits, hard engage, forced to 5-on-5 team fight. Power of Evil, he's dead.
Oh, Umbral Trespass, and there's no getting away from that one. A Reaping Slash, doesn't matter if you unleash that power, Soaz finishes the kill. And Caps, he's able to get out alive.
Oh, and Power of Evil, he needs some armor as well, because otherwise he's going to die every single time. And just as we said it, he picks up that cloth armor. He knows this Kayn with the lethality will start hurting more and more. But here, Fnatic overstay their welcome in the bottom lane, and that opens up for Misfits' engaged composition to shine. Good TP from Alphari. Finally, he gets to play League of Legends as well. And yeah, you might take that Lantern, but Alphari was ready for that one.
Everybody get in here, and it was a party. So Hansama picked up one, of course. Have to be happy about that for Misfits, but then Power of Evil not able to get out. And with Fnatic's control over this side of the map, it's pretty easy for them to pick up the Cloud Drake and even more mobility. That's going to help out Caps quite a bit. And by the way, Duskblade of Drakthar is up.
It is ready. Can he get on to Power Vivo or Hansama? Heck, even Alfari at this point, there's no real armor on his side. Abuse the Duskblade damage, because at this point here, the nerf that happened, the hotfix that happened to it, obviously affected it mainly in the early levels. Around level 9 and 10, it was like a 20 damage difference, so I don't think Caps mind too much that it was hotfixed.
No, he's going to be okay.
I think he's going to be okay.
All right, a lot of mobility on this Fnatic side. 3 Moby boots. 1 for Jez, 1 for Caps, and 1 for Broxa, as Reckless was waiting off on the side to see if they could get a quick pick off. Ignar and Maxlor are coming in. And the last time Fnatic overstepped their bounds, it wasn't welcome for them, but Broxa, he this time had the jump, and he threw in the cocoon onto the cow.
Let's see if Caps can find his way to a side lane, or if he wants to sit mid, push out mid with his team, and then move as well. I want to see actually how he wants to play this mid to late game, because surprise, this is my first mid lane Kayn experience.
Same, actually. Yeah, all right. I'm learning something alongside Deficio. That doesn't happen every day. In the meantime, Misfits are able to pick themselves up a Rift Herald, but Fnatic, they're busy splitting off on the side.
Caps right now, he's actually saying, you know what, I don't need to play push, I don't have TP. So he's sitting just next to Sword. He wants Misfits to show up and try and defend his tower, and then he can jump over the wall and actually just kill them.
Soaz still causing some pressure here, or putting some pressure in this bottom side. Now Fnatic, we've seen what they can do with the lead in the European LCS, especially this summer. These guys do not really throw games a whole lot.
No, exactly. That's been the good part about Fnatic here. And
there we go. Shadow Assassin,
Shadow Assassin it is. All right.
He's going all in on the damage.
Maximize that DPS. I think with the lethality build, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, when you go with the Black Cleaver build, you can actually go more for Rast, the tank version of this. But this is now him focusing on just dealing as much damage as possible. He is so squishy. His defensive tools is basically his ulti. But if that is gone, well, he's going to die.
Yep, and honestly, he's not the only thing that's needed on this team right now. Soaz is still becoming a monster slowly but surely. Has that CS lead built up, has a couple of kills over Alfari. So Caps can push on the side, Soaz can push on the side. As you said, Reckless can hold down the mid lane with Jez's. And Misfits are kind of giving ground here. You can see the Fnatic vision game just keeps creeping forward into that jungle, and Alfari nowhere safe. That Slash has got range.
And let's cover some of the good things about the Shadow Assassin here for him and some of the changes that happened. His W that he's maxing, longer range. Also the slow is now full 2 seconds. Skills a bit more from AD, and that's how diving.
Oh, jump of the pit, but Alfari's got the Umbral Trespass on top of him. Broxa, he manages to get a bite out of that health bar, and that's going to be free time up top in the tower. Rift Herald down bot for Misfits, but it's a consolation prize. Fnatic are doing double.
Misfits have to just try and engage in the mid lane, but Source is sitting right there with the rest of Fnatic. So there's really no opening for Misfits to actually punish Caps and Broxa for being topside, and that means another tower will fall. Another addition here for Caps with the Shadow Assassin. You're removing slow effects, obviously, with your Shadow Step when you jump over the walls. And of course, the ulti, a big one, gaining more range from him.
Oh, yeah.
Also
easy peasy for Fnatic to back away safe now.
End up resetting the cooldown of his passive when he's in there.
So Fnatic are able to back away, spend some of that gold that they earned. Of course, Reckless with the Blade of the Rune King means he's going to be able to kite it out for days. Soaz has his Jarm's Fist now. They're just kind of building themselves up to be even stronger, even better. The snowball is definitely real, though, because Fnatic, that gold lead keeps on growing. Soaz has some seafood down bot, finishing off the Rift Herald. And they're just keeping Misfits from really going anywhere with this. Trying to match that pressure. It's really difficult to do.
Let's see. One of the cool things for Caps is if he's in a longer fight, if you engage the fight, obviously your passive instantly procs, and for the next 3 seconds you are dealing extra damage. Then when you use your ulti and you reset that passive and you can use it again, it's a long duration where he is hurting like a truck. And then add in the lethality, Duskblade, that kind of stuff. That's kind of cool as well. The fact that he's also currently sitting at level 12, highest level in the game, with things like his passive, the skills on levels, the good old lethality as well. So Caps is a happy man right now.
Yep, he's able to clear through minions pretty quickly right now with that Shadow Scythe. Misfits, it seems like they're just at a loss for what to try to do. So when in doubt, run it down to the mid lane. See if you can get yourself at least one more tower off the board so it's quick with the blade of minions. Broxa, Reckless, they're really not able to hold back this, but maybe they can turn the fight. So as TPing in, he's got Mega Gnar on. They have locked up Maxlor. He's going to Arctic Assault away, but it's an Arctic Retreat. Will he be able to get away?
Oh, you hearing that? I'm hearing Caps is on his way.
Looking to hunt, add one more name to his Caps. No, but meanwhile, they've already found out one. It doesn't matter, though. In goes Kane. The Umbral Trespass is on to Maxlor. He pops right out. The damage is dealt on the return fire from Power of Evil's Unleashed power, but those health bars are not looking so hot right now, as Soaz taking up a lot of damage. They don't have any follow-through here. Maybe Misfits can turn this one back around.
Broxy just saved his top laner right there with a good cocoon. A lot of damage with that W from Caps onto Hansama. You gotta respect it. Look at that fight, though. As soon as Caps came in to try and kill Hansama in the backline, Maxlor turned around, saying, no, you're not hitting the squishy. You're gonna hit this big tank Sejuani instead. Meaning Caps didn't have much of an impact. He's trying, Pyre.
Oh, it was so close, but Caps just can't quite get it done. He hasn't died this game. He's inflicted quite a lot of death himself, but he's not able to get the finishing blow more than just that one time. All the same, he's free hitting the tower.
So as you can see here, max W early game for the laning phase, max E second. You really want to maximize mobility for this Kane here. Q comes in very last for him. It's all about entering the fight. Use your passive with the bonus % damage you get from it. You of course use the W as a massive amount of burst damage as well. Ulti to reset your passive, so you get it for another 3 seconds. And if someone tries to 1v1 you, you got 6 seconds of just spamming auto attacks that deal bonus % damage against them. Like, it's really hard to deal with him in a 1v1 setting, but we did see some of the limitations in the team fight. He enters, it's Maxlor who shows up, and suddenly Caps, despite it being very strong at this point, couldn't really find the backline and didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah. This is why, honestly, we've seen not as much popularity with the Shadow Assassin form. I mean, the few times we have really seen Kane, it has been all about Rast, right? However, this time around, it's a snowball. It's still building up, and obviously it's allowed Fnatic to get not only a map control over the place, and Hansama, oh baby, you dead, and Kane is enabled.
Why are you top lane? You have one job, you're Ashe. Don't go to the side lane. Kane will kill you. Just sit with your team. Oh, Hansama. There's one job. Never leave your babysitters. You need them. Kane will destroy you so easily.
It's good advice from Deficio.
Like you need to hold hands with Ignar and Maxlor the entire game.
A buddy system is required when Kane's on the Rift. Absolutely. Ay, ay, ay. He's got the Ghost Blade, he's got the Dust Blade. I mean, he's hurting.
That was like a no armor Ashe. Yeah, I mean, okay, let's see how fast it goes. So Ashe is sitting up there. Hansama felt kind of safe because he had Ignar and Maxlor around, but if they step away for just 1 second, you are alone, and Caps can destroy you in no time. Like, look at that damage. What are you gonna do? Put him in a team fight instead, and the Kane is not as strong.
Yeah, get deleted. So Misfits, instead of grouping up, decided to separate up, and that meant Hansama was one dead Ashe, and now he's still pushing up on the side, but this time he's got some backup. Maxlor is coming to join him. That means the bottom side, Soaz, he's able to pretty freely push. Alfari will match him, but it doesn't matter right now. Fnatic, they have all the pressure on their side.
All right, he's trying again. Hansama's top lane again. This time, Maxlor is next to him, holding his hand. Ignar is on the way. Caps wants to find him.
That only works once, Caps.
All right, protection is here for Hansama. But the problem is for Misfits is whenever they're top lane, they're not actually achieving anything with their engage comp because they want to engage on mid. That's where they're going in now, but there's full vision of them. So again, remember guys, when the 1-3-1 is set up for Fnatic, as we see now, Kane top lane, Gnar bot lane, engage mid lane is the best way for Misfits to stop it.
Ashe arrows on. Oh, they throw everything in the kitchen sink at Reckless, so they turn it on an 80 carry.
All right, so they managed to do that. Now, can they go back and defend with the numbers advantage? They should be able to stop Caps from getting a tower, buy more time. Next time when Misfits gets a kill in the mid lane, they can maybe go Baron and use the Baron to force Fnatic to stop split pushing, force Fnatic into a team fight with this Shadow Assassin Kane. So it's so key for Misfits, they can engage mid lane. I would love to see QSS as fast as possible for Reckless to avoid that arrow from connecting onto him, and then just have Jesses with the lantern ready every time and stay safe.
Yeah, this is not a fun game if you're in
No,
here. We're about to find out again. Oh, it's half his health bar. Just like that, the Umbral Trespass is on, but Maxlor is here. The babysitter can't keep the baby alive.
God damn it,
Caps is getting another kill, but he might give his life for it as the rest of Misfits have reacted. No, he's gonna flash. He's gonna shadow step, and would you believe it? Caps is gonna get out.
Oh my God, okay, so much credit to Caps because he's playing it so well. But now he must have learned. Hansama, just wait for Maxlor and Ignar to be around you. or you're dead. He might even die with them at this point because there's so much damage on Caps' side. And he can avoid the CC with his ulti.
Yeah, now it's Baron time. Unless Maxlor can enact a miracle steal, no, Fnatic aren't even going to give them that opportunity because they make their turn.
Caps,
5v4 right now. Caps is coming up mid.
Yeah, he wasn't there actually, so they couldn't have rushed it down. Misfits, they live to fight another day, which is 5-on-5 team fighting. Misfits.
More than we can say for Hansama, though.
Yeah, Hansama dying every time.
Oh!
Nice
As
engage.
bullet comes out. Okay, Asher to follow through. That's round 2. Now Broxah comes back down. Maxlor taking the front line, and they stopped up Soaz. But Hansama getting deleted. It's Soaz with the finishing blow. And now Fnatic are looking for a coup de grace themselves. Yanking on back. Power of evil. That's 2 carries dropped in the blink of an eye.
Misfits, they know they have to try and 5v5. They tried, but they are so far behind that it didn't matter. In the end here, Fnatic will actually just get to push in for another tower, and just the threat of Caps being around.
He's on 1v3 pushing him back right now. This is an easy tower take.
What a performance. Like, what a fun game for Fnatic here.
Yeah.
With this Kane mid lane from Caps.
Style points all around. Fnatic making it happen. At 24 minutes, they've broken into the base. That's 1 inhibitor down. They will be able to grab number 2, and they're looking in primo position to close this series out.
All right, 2 inhibs gone. 24 minutes into the game on Misfits. They know how hard it is, man. They just want to find that 5-on-5. They're trying it right here. So they look for it. They actually get the engage, but they're so far down in gold already. And notice how when Maxlor Ignite dives in, Power of Evil and Summer are sitting just with Maxlor, sorry, with Alfari in the back. Caps gets 1 hit with the W, and then Source can just finish the job against Hansama. And yeah, it's if you dive in, your backline dies. If you stay with your backline, you don't really win the fight, and then you just end up getting split pushed on. Like, so hard. They're trying desperation moves here, rushing the Baron.
Let's see if they can get a Power of Evil. He's guarding right now, but this Baron is not dropping down fast enough. With 2 downed inhibitors, they need to rush, make everything count, and in goes the Ash Arrow. It's on to Soaz, but he's able to get away from it. Hansama, Ignar dropped incredibly low, and Fnatic are collapsing around, deleting Power of Evil. Hansama's already dead, Reckless with the double kill, and Misfits are nowhere to be found. Good night.
Such a great game from Fnatic. Love the bigger band phase from them. Love the execution as well in the game. They're now going straight for that Nexus. 2 inhibs gone, and they can be so proud.
They absolutely have to be right now. Fnatic, they didn't lose a man on that final push, and it just goes to show. And Misfits, they may have been improving, learning those ropes in the LCS, but Fnatic are just a cut above the rest, finishing off those Nexus turrets, and just waiting to pad some stats as soon as the Misfits come up and respawn, having a little bit of fun at the end of the day. There goes the ace, and Fnatic say, yes, we can!
And Reckless looks at Caps.
That's the second time that's happened now.
Second time it happened now.
There is a budding bromance on this team. I love it.
I mean, when you win the game with Shadow Assassin, Kane, lethality, whatever you want to say, fully deserved. Could have gone, you know, other routes, tank killer, whatever, but like it was like all about snowballing. And I think just such a cool first example of this Kane mid lane in EU LCS of like focus on roaming. It's not about 1v1 laning. It's like that talent again. Moby boots, Duskblade, so you show up in a side lane with Shadow Step and you can just burst down these targets so quickly and you snowball the game.
Yeah, it was incredibly scary. Move over Talon. I am, as an AD carry main, not going to play solo queue for a few days.
It's scary. Remember, he's 1-4 in solo queue the last few days in this champion.
Yeah, but he's 1-0 in LCS.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the number that I'm watching, Deficio.
Oh, man. And yeah, we saw like one team fight where he tried to get in and Misfits could actually defend the backline and he wasn't really that useful, but the big advantage just came from the split push, and once you are that far ahead in gold, there's also other champions in the game, like Source's Gnar, which was pretty damn fed too.
Yeah, and this is further evolution from Fnatic too, right? So they managed to get themselves up in the team fighting compositions. They managed to find this 1-3-1 without using Reckless as one of the one. That's, I think, the key thing here, Deficio.
He was teasing it before the game, man.
Did he say something weird was coming?
Yeah, I met it in the cafeteria, and he was just like, Kane. I'm like, okay, Broxah Kane. Okay, cool, that makes sense. And then, nope, Caps Kane instead.
I guess Broxah got out of surprises.
Broxah got his Elise anyway.
I mean, maybe he was like going to play it, and then he got Elise both games and said, it's okay.
You never know.
Caps.
I can guarantee you, like every jungler wants to play Kane, but now all the mid laners maybe also want to play Kane and take it away from the junglers.
Well, a lot of possibilities for the newest champion to hit Summoner's Rift for sure.
I just
in
love when you see a
Fnatic.
game like that from it. And also,
It was so good.
rest of Fnatic, you know, this was not about scaling and team fight. This was the 1-3-1 split push, but it was about Caps as one split pusher and Source as the other one. Reckless holding the mid lane. That was his entire job.
You can't get a whole lot different in the way you want to play from game 1 to game 2. I mean, it did not feel like the same series.
No, they just swapped it up completely, and it's cool when we see that. We saw G2 Esports do that yesterday as well. Obviously, where they went for like 2 kind of different compositions. I like that from our top teams, testing different things. And another 2-0 for Fnatic, first place in their group. Like, again, we talked about this before, but like, the only team who could challenge Fnatic right now seems to be G2 Esports, and they play each other week 10 on a Saturday.
That's August 12th.
August 12th.
Yeah, what time is it, Deficia?
Second series, so I'm going to say 7, 8 p.m.
Yeah, something like that. We can't really predict it, but that's okay.
Something like that.
Something, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be fantastic.
I want Kane mid in it.
The last time it was pretty epic, and remember, Fnatic were able to get that win, but we'll see what happens in week 10. Now, we got to go over to our player of the series, because even though Caps was wrecking people, he's the man that made it happen on NAR 2 times out of 2.
And that's what happens, you know, when you do well in 2 games. Soa's probably laughing at Caps right now.
Like, ha.
Oh, yeah, that's mine. He got that
twice.
He got nod twice. I still think it was a bit weird they gave him our second time around. But when you get early ganks from Broxah that actually succeed, like in this game, when you get Caps roaming up top lane as well, spoon feeding Soas, I mean, you guess you can take over the game as an R as well.
Yeah, well, they were allowed to do it. Misfits, unfortunately, just didn't quite have enough going on there, so that is what it is. All right, well, the mid lane matchup was the key in game number 2. Here is Quickshot. Wait a minute, that's a Stress and Sunkooks. That's not right. It's Quickshot breaking it down with the mid laner Fnatic.
No, it's not, Pyra.
Oh, it's never mind.
It's Stress and Sunkooks. Because Kane was played in the middle lane. Kane was played, and that means we've got a lot to talk about. It's a special segment coming out. Thank you, Pyra, for setting Quickshot up. Interviews coming in just a little bit with the man in the mid lane. But look, Deficio said mid laners are going to be wanting to play this. I'm here with Sunkooks. Have you played much of Kane in the middle lane? Is he your flavor of mid laner?
I mean, I played a couple of solo games. Some of them were a bit int, a bit running down, dying a lot. But I mean, some games were good as well.
Well,
maybe I will play next week.
Maybe, looking at this performance. We're going to break down a couple of key mechanics here for Kane, specifically in the middle lane and why it made him at least a decent pick. Running first through the Deathfire Touch mastery that was taken, we were talking a little bit before the game, and Mickey actually postulated that it's to do with stacking up the blue form a lot quicker. And when we look at some of the replays, Sunkooks, talk me through this, the interaction Deathfire Touch actually extending the combat duration, and these orbs, you get more of them.
Yeah, it's pretty much like every W you hit in lane, because you pretty much play range matchups all the time. So for every W you hit, you will actually get more stacks with the Deathfire Touch procs. I'm not sure if I like it too much, because it's not that good AD scaling anymore. After Jhin was really broken, Riot chose to nerf it. So it's really to stack it up faster, but he didn't even get it that fast in the game.
Yeah, it was a little bit later than we were expecting, but that Blade's reach, you could see charging it up quickly. Other things that we saw Caps utilizing, a little bit of added sustain in the laning phase, using that shadow step. You just dodge into a wall and you can regenerate some of your health. We can take a look at that as it comes through, because that's something that is a little bit underestimated, the fact that Caps can kind of just heal himself up every now and again.
Yeah, it's 100 HP for every time you go in a wall in rank 1, and it's also really good to dodge ganks with, because every jungler would be like, yeah, he's up at the wall, now we can get him, and then he's like, nope, I'm running out. So that's a really broken spell in general, I think.
And another thing specific to the Syndra matchup that you were noting is the reaping / the Q you can use to dodge Syndra's Q. We saw a couple of times that actually was
yeah, and pretty much the whole laning phase, he didn't really get that poked because he had Thorn Shield, and then he just used his Q every time Syndra tried to W for the slow or QE for the damage. So in general, I think he has a really good lane into Syndra, and also makes him able to roam like this.
Yeah, this is the roam that we saw, and this is where really the Kane pick takes over. You can get right up into the top lane, actually try and snowball that Gnar pick that ended up getting Soaz the player of the series. So difficult to deal with these roaming champions. I know you like the Aurelion Sol, the Kassadin, these roaming champions. How strong is Kane compared to the likes of an Aurelion Sol?
I mean, he's the same kind of speed at getting to the side lane. They can both go over walls, so I'm not sure. Like, I mean, early game it's probably a bit stronger with Kane. He has a bit more damage when he gets Dustbag and Yumos. He's really annoying for especially AD carries. You saw Hans Sama getting caught off quite a bit in the game. So as a roam champion, it's really strong. As a lane 1v1 champ, I'm not too sure. He needs to upgrade before he's really strong, I think.
And speaking of that upgrade, you mentioned Hans Sammer as well. We saw the blue form, the Shadow Assassin, full lethality build come through. And how satisfying is it when you find an AD carry in a side lane as we take a look at the rest of the replays from the game? How satisfying is this going to be? You're playing a full assassin mode and Hans Sammer just strays up in lane.
Yeah, you have Moby Boots, you have your E on the Shadow Assassin, which is way longer now and way faster. So it's pretty satisfying when you find an Ashe, an immobile AD carry, fail flashing into a wall while you have ult up on her anyway. So, I mean, in general, I'm not sure what Misfits is doing with this side lane pushing Ashe versus Kayn, but Caps definitely got fed on it.
What was your overall thoughts of like the game as a whole from Caps? Is this likely to happen every time we see Kayn in the mid lane?
It should not go as it did in this game. It kind of snowballed out of hand, I think. I think the Shadow Assassin form is really strong, especially for solo queue, because people are way more split up in a way. But I think in the competitive games, people should learn how not to just go instant side lane and die with your AD carry all the time.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment of AD carries in the current meta. You can see just how well Caps did on the Kayn pick in Game 2. One question that I think a lot of people have, one of the unique things about Kayn is the ability to take the red form, Rast. Is there any time you think that might be viable from a mid lane role, or is it all about that assassination potential?
I mean, if you are against really tanky members, the red form is usually better. It's also better for jungle when you're a bit more tanky, but when you go this full squishy one-shot build, Moby Boots and Dustblade and Youmu's first, you really like the blue one because the W is really strong and really fast and you can move while you do it, and your passive is really OP if you get onto these squishy targets.
We saw that happen so many times in that game. We figured if we're going to break the meta and you're going to see Kayn in the middle lane, we'd at least tell you a few things that you can utilize on how to maybe not lose your games instantly. But Caps and Fnatic, they're rolling hot here in the summer split. Let's hear what he has to say after that win. And this actually is with Quickshot.
Thank you very much, Stress. And yes, welcome everybody. I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the Shadow Assassin Kayn. Stress said something at the end there that I want to immediately start with. For all the people in solo queue that are now going to feed with Kayn in the middle lane, what advice would you give them to not feed and how to play the champion properly?
I mean, I think the most important thing when you start playing Kayn mid is that you just don't die. It's really important that you never die as Kayn mid. And it's really important that even if you give up full pressure, and even if you, in the beginning, maybe you don't really know how it works, so of course you will give up some depths, but as you start to learn how to play him, you will just look for as many cheesy Ws for the stacks, and then other than that, you just want to avoid trading. You want to get Ws on the enemy, and then you just don't want to trade.
I love it. That's fantastic advice. We'll see how many solo queue games are ruined because of this man's performance. How did you convince the rest of your squad and Fnatic to let you play it? Because it seemed interesting, maybe risky even.
I'm not sure if the rest of the team is convinced yet. Maybe after the game, but at least in scrims, it was like mixed results, and people talk a lot about like how it's going to be on stage, because stage is kind of a different game. So my team was not really that happy with me playing Kayn, but considering I played like 50 Kayn games this week, then I just wanted to play it. So.
Well, it definitely worked out today. You've kind of built up a reputation for playing some of these unique and weird and wonderful picks in the mid lane. Why is it that you are doing this and maybe no other mid laners are?
I mean, I think we did a lot when we had Finlay as coach, because it was kind of like...
well, that was the animal style, right?
Yeah, that was the animal style, so we were just playing what we wanted to play, right? This time it's a bit more controlled. I don't think I pulled out that many random things this split. I think this was the first, actually.
Do you want to pull out more random stuff?
I mean, if it makes us win and if it makes me look good, then I'll pull it out. But this one time, I think even our coach wasn't that happy about it. But I mean, I'm the one with the mouse, so I locked it in.
That's amazing. Look, I know I got to give you some credit here, because you know what I mean? You put your head on the line with a champion like that. If the team, if the coach is saying otherwise, who should get the final say? If you're in picks and bans and you're like, look, I'm convinced it should be Kayn, and you've got the coach in your team saying, no, it shouldn't, who should, theoretically be able to say this is what it's going to be? I
mean, I think the coach has the final say, and like in this case, he was just like really against it, But in the end, when I was like saying I want to play it, he just said, okay, then pick it,
Okay, I love it. I love it. Look, congrats on the win. Just a few more questions before we move away. You guys are crushing it this summer. This is the best form that Fnatic has been in maybe in 2 years, since 2015. What's the mood like now in the summer split? Because there was a lot of talk about the emotional turmoil in spring, some of the struggles, very publicized. So how is it now in summer for you and the rest of the team?
I mean, we're definitely still like emotional, because even though we're winning like almost all of our LCS games, we're still losing games in scrims. And we tend to, some of our games in scrims, right? And we tend to get emotional about it, but it's definitely nice when we keep getting like 2-0s, and we got 1 game to Unicorns and stuff like this. It's definitely nice for the mood.
What is going to be success for you? Obviously, best form Fnatic's been in, arguably the best team in Europe, expected to make finals. Is that extra pressure? Is that really difficult?
It definitely gives pressure, but I like pressure, I think. And as I told Finlay when I joined the team, my goal to win Fnatic is to win Worlds, so yeah.
Well, your goal to win Worlds. One last question. Is there anybody in Europe that can stop you on this stage? I was looking for a confident no. That's what I was looking for. Let's try that again. Is there anybody in Europe that can stop you on this stage?
No.
Fantastic. With that, we're going to head to the analyst desk with Shocks and the boys.
Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, Caps, we know that he wanted to say it. So good on Quick Shot for staying on the ball and getting that out of him, because we have, of course, that G2 Fnatic matchup in Week 10, which we keep alluding to. It is also, I think, what was implied by the question. Very interesting interview there. And I love the question about the emotional team. And I think it's cool that Caps admits that they're an emotional team overall, because if he now was to say, no, all those issues are gone, it's going well, that would be more concerning to me. But do you think the fact that they're so emotional and that they obviously have had some troubles when it wasn't going well, and now they're very happy when they're winning, is that something that they might struggle with?
If he says it impacts them really much, how much they win in scrims, I think it can go and impact them if they have a bad week of scrims. It might go worse than it actually has to be. But they keep winning LCS, so it shouldn't be that hard to lose a couple of scrims every now and then.
Well, I agree.
I think it's an interesting dynamic because remember, Broxah and Caps are only now in their second split here as starting lineups for Fnatic. And compare that to Soaz, Reckless, Jez's, you can see where maybe that comes from. I don't want to put too much in the fact that it's the younger players that are like that, but certainly it's an interesting dichotomy in Fnatic that they're finding success for now. I like the point. If maybe a week doesn't go so well in scrims, maybe we'll find that out. But I'm looking forward so much to that Fnatic G2 match.
Yeah, they're looking strong. How much of an emotional team is Splice, Mickey?
Actually, it's not that bad if we lose. Like, for example, today we lost, but I don't think we're gonna be like, the mood's gonna go really far down because of it. I think everyone's just maybe gonna be sad for a day, but then everything's gonna be fine because we're gonna win with the power of friendship next week.
But isn't that because you just troll each other? I hear that that's all the Splice lineup really is if you control the rest of them. No, you're all laughing.
Sometimes we have some rough scrims, but it just ends up after the scrims. So I thought we were going to run around and troll each other 24/7. And the first thing Yamato told us when he came into the house was to show no emotions. So,
No?
no emotions.
Oh, be stoic and show no emotions at all.
That doesn't tend to happen.
That doesn't tend to
Never
happen.
happened in
Well, you
our
guys
house.
definitely rebounded after that game versus HGK. You guys joined us on the desk and had some great insights, so that's been great. I also want to take a look at the lineups after that Fnatic win, because they have strengthened their lead in Group A. G2 yesterday making up some points, but now Fnatic move on to 9-1, and just a fabled split for them overall. I just want to ask you guys quickly about that matchup, G2 versus Fnatic in 2 weeks. Perks yesterday said, obviously, G2 would win that. Mickey, what's your prediction?
I think Fnatic looks to be the stronger team, so I would say maybe 2-1 for Fnatic.
2-1 Fnatic.
I don't know, it's hard to say because it's still in week 10, but G2 has definitely been looking stronger than they did in the start of the split, so I think G2, I don't know. I don't know what to predict for games, but I think G2 can do a bit more work than they did the first time they played.
You're the tiebreaker.
Oh, I think G2 will take it Fnatic will take it 2-1. Wow, just defaulting to old EU splits where we just assume G2 will win. For me, interesting matchups, Misfits versus Roccat. Because if Roccat beat Misfits and Ninjas in Pajamas, they might jump them. I don't think it's a guaranteed bet. It's more of an outside
Jump
chance.
G2, you mean?
No, jump Misfits. Because Roccat are at 3 series wins, Misfits are at 5. There's a possibility there. I don't know how likely it is, but... certainly, yeah, I went on a completely different.
No, I just caught on too late. You were talking about Roccat. And
I'll be clearer. It's fine.
no problem. That was me. But I did want to talk about the earlier series today with these two gentlemen. H2K took down Splice with a 2-0 win. We're just going to rip open that wound again. Now, this one was unwinnable. Like, did you guys treat this game as unwinnable after that failed dive, Mickey?
No, we said
Failed dive.
we said it's okay, guys. We can still win, but deep inside, we all knew it's gonna be very, very hard because I had Tristana late game, and yeah.
But then game 2 came, and that was much more even. So what was it in the end with your comp? It did seem to be very hard to pick fights with your composition, Sanka.
We had a bit of a problem with getting Kog'Maw to get into the fight because every time Tron would just pillar, and I just hear Kobe say in my earphones that, guys, I cannot really auto-attack.
Yep.
So that kind of blows when we have a double tank with no real mid lane damage this game. But yeah, I think we could still have won this game. We could also have won the first one, but it was just some silly mistakes.
Do you love playing Galio mid?
I mean, when I steal Yanko's 5 Raptors, then it's fun, yeah.
Then it is fun. In terms of the mental game, you guys had previously also lost to H2K when you played them first up in the split. So is that a bit concerning going into the rest? But on the other hand, you guys have a win over the Unicorns of Love. H2K doesn't. So how much does it all matter in the end?
I don't know. I think we can still beat H2K when it comes to playoffs. I still think we're still improving. It's still not the Storm games we had against G2 and the Storm games we had against H2K in the first week of LCS. So I don't give up on that. We can never beat H2K, and we can still beat the UL. And it's always a triple circle in our group that we beat H2K, H2K beat us, we beat UL, and UL beat the H2K. So there's still a chance for first.
Well, we asked an expert on what the end of Group E standings would be before playoffs. So the Fisho. Let's take a look.
Expert, right?
Yeah, expert. Let's take a look at his standings because he put H2K above you guys and then Unicorns of Love in 3rd place. Mickey, do you agree with that before playoffs?
Yeah, it looks pretty realistic, I guess. But it won't matter in the end because we're gonna win playoffs anyway. So.
Oh,
Confident answer.
gonna win
Confident
anyway.
answer.
Without the bye.
Yeah, without the bye, they're just going to smash all the way through. Everybody was sick of tier lists, so we were like, okay, next step predictions. That's what we're going to do.
It's the
Group
same thing,
predictions.
isn't it?
Just I'll do a group prediction. Like Vedi will do and Vedi's mom will do and his nan will do and everyone will put him on Twitter. It'll be fantastic.
Are you salty?
Tier lists, like everybody's doing them. It's the new fashion.
Hey, they incite discussion, and while H2K definitely looks very strong today, what do you guys make of the Unicorns of Love, the Fishos, and our kind of thought process was now that it's a tank meta and everyone team fights ARAM mid, they've lost the edge because they were very good at that and they would always do that. But now that everyone's doing that, the Unicorns don't have as much as a opportunity in these games. Do you agree with that?
I never really think they were that strong. I think people just really trolled it when they play against UL, and they really fell into their kind of a trap with was just grouping mid. And now everybody's doing like you say, so I don't know, UL has been obviously playing worse than they did last split, but I still don't feel like they were ever like a really dominant team.
I think that's the interesting thing is people at first said they figured them out, and now Unicorns used to have team fighting as a strength, but when every team can draft a team fighting composition and fight the Unicorns, it leaves them without what made them strong. And now we have to see how they react, whether they can actually move their meta, their internal team meta away from that.
We'll have to see, and I believe we will be able to see them tomorrow. We'll also see Roccat. They are looking to start yet another winning streak. Well, it's going to be time if they want to make something happen, but they have a possible matchup versus Ninjas in Pajamas, and then Unicorns of Love are up versus the Mysterious Monkeys. So does NIP secure their first series win tomorrow, Stress?
No, but I think they'll get a game.
Cool. Does anyone think that NIP is able to win that series with current meta?
I mean, they're definitely able to win it. If they do, I'm not sure.
If it's any win that they're gonna get the split, it's probably this one. But even I don't think they're gonna win the series.
And the Unicorns, well, can they drop the series versus the Monkeys?
Probably not.
I would say not, but I mean, there's always a chance when it's Unicorns, I feel.
That it is. I think that will be our motto for tomorrow. There is always a chance. Well, that will do it from us here in Berlin. Thank you guys very much for joining me on the desk and the expert Kane analysis of Senkux and Stress. And we'll be back tomorrow for the final day of Week 8. See you then.